On the east coast of the United States, on a radio station called WFMU, there is a DJ named Erwin Chusett. Notably, he released a series of 4 CDs of outsider music, and on CD 2, track 9, there is a song called Curly. Hello, if you are watching this, then you know the matter that we are about to discuss. It should go without saying, this 80s new wave song from Canadian radio station is a conundrum the agency is trying to solve. Let's get you up to speed, Agent. This is case file 0397306, CIA. The song oddly had 2 original posters, technically speaking. The song was uploaded to YouTube by a user named DJ Formaldehyde, and on Reddit by a user named richfromhell. FatBird pointed out 2 comments by 2 different users on the same new wave internet forum, and I'm going to come back to solve this mystery, so patience recruit. In the meantime, Agent marktrail quickly transcribed lyrics, which led to the most sensible potential name for this track, CIA, as well as others, including Coming Home or Coming Home to Stay and Russian Winter. This led to several possibilities, such as Keith Throm and Half-Life, Mr. Freeman. That is until, of course, these were ruled out. Even Shower Team was a proposed lead for this song. They were also a proposed lead for the solved case file, Just a Game. Speaking of solved case files, Canadian music liaison Alan Cross wrote about this mystery song along with the now solved Wavestation and the yet unsolved Monster of Love. You can find those case files in your caseload below. As agents continue to rule out many leads, they also discussed that perhaps the band in question might be from the US or Australia. And our silent partners at Slicing Up Eyeballs, who we've also asked about case files like My Pretty Doll and Erosion, posted about this, them having no idea themselves. We also investigated artist Denise Knight after a somewhat promising lead. This, however, was ruled out, so we moved on to questioning if this could be from several talent contests run by Canadian radio station CFNY, and I want you to remember that for later. So we got more information, and at least one part of this mystery was solved when Reddit Rich from Hell said their friend was the one that recorded this off of CFNY between August and September of 1984. They also clarified on that original comment, saying that they knew they had heard the song again on an 80s alternative rock radio station on the internet. We asked Rich from Hell if he could digitize the tape that belonged to his friend, and I'll come back to that. This song was also discussed by a Facebook group about radio station CFNY that was full of obscure music obsessives, and Rich from Hell even contacted us at the CIA. He did also provide an additional piece of information, thinking that the title had the word Winter in it. Rich returned, answering more questions, mentioning he himself had done intensive research into this song with no luck, discussing some elements of what I've just covered, including a potential lead, a band called Fourth Floor, before concluding that they didn't sound similar to him. He later went further, completely ruling them out, and we did so as well, for good measure. Also, we did have internal conversations about the fact that now, 3 years later, and mind you, this was in 2022, he still hadn't digitized the tape from his so-called friend. Kurty mentioned another CFNY talent search submission from a band called Vis-a-Vis, mentioning this competition had hundreds of submissions every year. Our liaison, Alan Cross, was contacted again and asked his colleagues about this song, but again, no success was to be had, though one of them did suggest the band that Kurty had mentioned, Vis-a-Vis. And so we went back to our biggest and most promising, yet also most frustrating lead. The idea of this coming from the CFNY talent search. Then we found another promising lead, a super obscure release from a band called The Reform, with the title CIA, and it was basically the same length as the sample we had. Even Rich thought this lead seemed promising. Could this finally be it? Deputy Director Bullock here. Before I provide the answer, I must interrupt. I realize only now I've forgotten to provide you the key code phrases that you will need in case you are in need of immediate assistance. These key phrases are vital, and they are as follows: like and subscribe. So remember, like and subscribe. So a Lostwave community member ordered the Reform album, though before it was even received, someone on Discogs said it wasn't the same song. Then the person who bought it uploaded it to YouTube, and it was 100% confirmed it wasn't the same song. We heard back from a long suggested band called Conditioned Response. Of course, it wasn't them either. And I think it's important to take a brief look at this message from Agent AnarchydR, who summarized the sheer number of bands and experts that have been contacted about this song. Then, another suggested that this could have been on a Canadian TV competition called Rock Wars, as many competitors on that show also had their music played on CFNY. Agent PersonOfDistraction followed up on this lead after several promising bands came out of it, contacting archivists like the Tape Keeper and Betamax King. He also reached out to a Canadian music expert who'd written extensively about the Rock Wars TV competition, Keith Sharp, but sadly got no reply. Marktrail found a potentially useful Canadian publication called Nerve that we may still try to find archival copies of. TriPork found a band that sounded fairly similar named Railtech, that's TEC. Though their music was from 1993, the vocal similarities were strong. However, it was quickly pointed out that the lead singer would have been about 13 in 1984, and they were then ruled out. Then, in an odd twist of fate, a hoax lead led to us finding a person on Twitter named SktSkf, who had posted a picture of a CFNY playlist from 1984. Agent Saber contacted him, and while he didn't recognize the song, he said he'd try to help further. And because, if nothing else, it's notable, some people swear the vocalist on the track is singing Club CIA and not the CIA. Then, just about a week ago, we finally got a track list from the tape that belongs to Rich from Hell's friend, the tape containing CIA. Oddly, he'd be very defensive about the fact that it's now been more than 4 years and he hasn't digitized the tape, because it's not his tape but his friend's. Agent, this rationale does not make sense to me, but Rich has been a major part of the search, so I choose not to stir the pot, and I wholeheartedly believe in the authenticity of the track itself. Here is a slightly better look at that track list. Then, very recently, a YouTube comment suggested a track called Driving Me Insane by a band called The Preppies, but multiple Discogs users said it wasn't them and they were effectively ruled out. So, welcome aboard the team. I hope you can aid in the search. End transmission. And that's the surprising truth about curly toes. Until next time, I'm PersonOfDistraction, and I'm now listening to